how we can provide status messages by music, for instance. We're doing it in some shape or form with Last.fm now by providing Scrabbles. Also, we're looking into all these social platforms like Twitter and Facebook and seeing how people actually share music. So I can't really develop where we're going with that yet, but I think you'll find that Spotify will, in the future, and if you look in a year or two down the road, it will be a lot more social in its sense that it will interact with services much better than what it's done today.
One or two more. Just over here on the far side, since you're where the mic is.
Thanks. Hi, Daniel. Just a quick question about the early days, 2006, 2007. You mentioned earlier about naysayers. You're going to meet a lot of people who think your idea is rubbish and you just got to keep driving forward. Percentage-wise, how many people in the music industry, A, and how many venture funds and angels thought your idea was rubbish? And do you laugh about it now?
I think, in terms of our VCs, we probably met 50 or so VCs with Spotify. And
all in one country?
No. We met them all across Europe and the US. So we met all of the big guys. But I think there's been 5 of them that have turned us down. Everyone liked the prospect of music. Then we weren't the cheapest company around, so there's been a lot of people that turned us down because of the valuation. But people liked the idea, and they liked the fact that we really believed in our idea. And when they saw the product, they liked the products as well. So I think, in terms of VCs, most have been supportive, but that's their job. They look at ideas. So they're probably more receptive to ideas than the general public. And then when it comes to the music industry, I would say that I've been lucky in the fact that I met a lot of people from the digital side in the music industry, where, a lot of those guys are also sort of responsible for nurturing new digital ideas. So they weren't that bad either, but I've definitely had my share. I would probably... I meet a lot of people on a daily basis that says, this will stop getting people from buying CDs and so on. And what I tell them is that, that's not the case. We've got empirical proof for the fact through studies that people aren't spending less money on music. Looking at the market like Sweden, again, I actually think the Swedish market is quite phenomenal because during this year, so far, we've seen a 70% growth in the markets. What's interesting is that everyone thinks it's got to do with this new law that was passed in Sweden, where it basically makes file sharing illegal and what's happened through Pirate Bay and so on. The funny thing is Spotify hasn't got more than 10% more users since the law passed, but we account for the vast majority of those revenues. So what's happened is the fact that that 70% increase, Spotify is actually a big part of that increase. Some has been physical as well, that physical has increased. But what's interesting is, as well, if you can get everything for free on Spotify, how come physical is increasing? Well, because people are finding out about more music through Spotify, and their favorite music they'll go to the shop and actually buy as well. So it doesn't necessarily have to be a decline. A certain part of the audience still buys CDs and still want to own music, but they might sample it through Spotify. So coming back to your question, we've had our shares. Especially in the beginning in 2006, everyone thought we were nuts. Everyone was saying, why would you do a music company? I've got iTunes and that's sufficient. Or I've got this tool. But I mean, the same was true when Google started their company as well. Everyone said, why do a search engine? We got Alta Vista. Mm. So just focus on solving the problem at hand and executing really well on that, and the rest will follow.
You said that before, indeed. Quite interesting. There's where's the microphone at the back of the room? Who's got it? Sorry, my darling, I'm making you go all the way over there now, having dragged you over there.
Hi, Farhan Rahman here. I was wondering, did you ever have any doubts, like sort of during the 2 years where you were going back and forth? And the second question was, if you knew what you had to go through to get to where you are now, do you think you'd have started the same way?
Oh man, I knew this question would come up. So yeah, you have doubts all the time. But did I ever doubt the fact that you can build a better product than piracy? No. Did I doubt the fact that people will love a service that is better than piracy? No. When we started focusing on actually building a product, I knew that we had something that people would like. And where my doubt has been is the fact of if the artists would like it, if the record labels would accept giving away their music on an advertising-based service. And yeah, I've had plenty of doubts, and there's been a lot of times where I've wished that I didn't spend 2.5 years on a plane trying to get licenses. But ultimately, just seeing how people are interacting with Spotify and how they're sharing music and how that's ultimately started to change now, when people at big magazines write about music, they start to link to Spotify. That's exactly the vision we had. We're starting to see, even though we're taking baby steps, we're starting to see that happening. And just seeing that happening is the probably best fulfillment you can possibly have.
One last question. Let's have it from you on the front row.
Hello, I'm Emma Banyo from Multilab Consulting. Drawing on the previous person's comment, what was the biggest setback during the past 2.5 years?
So I think there's been a couple of big setbacks, and one of the things that we try and do internally is we try and learn from it, and we never think. I hope that we never think that we're better than we actually are. So, setbacks in the initial days were that we thought we would get licenses, obviously, within 6 months from starting the company. It took us another 2 years to get that done, and that was obviously a big setback. Getting everyone aboard, working on this target, and never delivering on it. And every time we were supposed to launch the service, I had to say, well, let's wait for another 6 months while we try and figure this one out. So that was, very frustrating. The other one was, of course, when we had user information revealed. This was in February when Spotify was starting to take off. And we, that was a big thing for us. And we had two choices. We could either be quiet about it, or we could actually try and be candid. And we choose the latter in the sense of being candid. And there was this huge media debate going on whether, you should actually be on Spotify or not, because of us revealing confidential details and so on. But I personally think that we did the right one, and because we were honest and we said this is in detail what happened, and this is to the extent of which the problem actually was, we got a lot of positive feedback. We got our community that supported us. So whenever there was negative comments on websites, we started seeing people responding back. It's not that bad. Actually, if you look at what Spotify said, it's this and this and this happened. So we have this loyal users, and going back to Twitter again, some of them started communicating directly with me, super fans, which are actually helping us do the customer support, because they answer a lot of the questions that people have about the service. They respond to journalists that write pieces about us that this fact is actually wrong, look at this statement here instead, and so on. So they are the ambassadors of Spotify, and they're probably better spokesperson than what I am or anyone else at the company. So again, if you put the consumers in the focus and you let them know that you care about them, and you try and explain why